guys, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of The Depth Perception. This episode is brought to you by Iverict Bio. Iverict Bio is the company that makes Izervay, the FDA-approved injections for geographic atrophy found in late-stage macular degeneration. Izervay slows geographic atrophy progression by directly targeting a key source of retinal cell death and loss of photoreceptors. Here's a quick video from our sponsors.
Sight. It awakens us to the present moment, guides us through essential daily tasks, shows us the road immediately ahead, and a future we can only hope to witness. Sight gives us hope, but retinal diseases can take our sight away, along with the hope that goes with it. At Iveric Bio, we see a world where vision is preserved. Our mission is to deliver transformational therapies for people with retinal diseases so they can live with hope in sight. The freedom to drive, the ability to work, the comfort of looking into a loved one's eyes, or the simple confidence to knowingly say, I see. Iveric Bio. Hope in sight.
All right, it's season 2. What's up, guys?
We're bonded for life. This is season 2 now. This is forever, you know?
It really is.
They always say the first year is the hardest, right? And should we do a quick, hey, this is an update? Let's welcome to season 2. I'm Dr. Nadia Afghami. I am an optometrist in Orlando, Florida. This is my year out of school, year and a half almost. Wow. So new grad here. So who wants to introduce themselves next? Svet?
Hi, I'm Svetlana. I am still a third-year optometry student at Berkeley Optometry. I'll be taking board soon.
Nice.
Part 1. I have a date, March 18th.
Wow, it's coming. That's no time, and then it'll be over.
So,
yeah, we'll see. JD?
I'm Dr. Jasdeep Singh Soni. I've been practicing for 3 years. I have a passion for talking about growth, whether it be finances, health, sales, and that is what my new focus will be this year. So looking forward to discussing that more with you all.
Nice. Doug?
I don't know what I am, but I'm Douglas Akiti. I think I'm a newer grad than you, Nadia, because I just graduated in June.
Dr. Akiti. So, that's still valid.
Dr. Akiti for sure. Definitely in between licensing, boards, and all that. So just getting ready to be out there in the streets and serve some eyeballs near you.
Wow, before we get started. Cool. Wow, that's awesome. Good for you.
Guys, before we move on, we got to let the people know. You guys got to subscribe. You got to click the button, hit us up. We need y'all.
We do.
Wow. I thought that we were going to start. I thought you were going to be like, before we get started, we just want to announce that I got engaged, but it's fine. I guess we won't announce that. No
I think they knew it.
We already announced
we got to talk about it every podcast.
I think we'll have to start
at our in-person pod.
Yeah.
So,
we'll have the spin-off pod. Nadia got engaged, and they can go more into detail.
That's the only thing.
On my birthday.
On Doug's birthday.
On Doug's birthday.
What a great day to get engaged.
For the rest of my life.
What happens in Vegas doesn't always stay in Vegas.
Oh, interesting.
Well.
So I think you're kind of hinting at friendships can go in different directions, right? Like friendships sometimes can be good when we get deeper and we get into it. Maybe, some may say crossing lines, but lines are subjective, right? Where are these lines? Are they real? Are they imaginary? Well, I'm always all about, let's see how we can pursue a relationship and try communicating as much of it. For example, Doug and I have worked together, and I love that friendships can lead to situations like that. But I understand there's also lines and stuff, right? Especially when you're in your office. Like, how do you hang out with your techs? How do you hang out with your classmates? Are you friends with your boss? Like, these are all different dynamics that have a unique situation. So, Nadia, have you had any experiences in your office where it's how do I walk the line of being friends with someone, or how do I deal with this?
Sure. I mean, I feel like I'm friends with a lot of my staff because they're younger, especially my techs. A lot of them are like UCF students because UCF is pretty close to the office.
Mm.
So we have a lot of part-time students who just come and tech like on the weekend or, a couple days during the week. And then my clinic manager, I think, is 3 or 4 years younger than me. So, we are very close as well. Like, I always am like, Jennifer, what do I do? Or like, Jen, can you do this? Or, I think that there's a line because actually recently at the office, people are just like, hey, Nadia. And I'm like, it's Dr. Nadia because it's office hours. So I think that's kind of where the line, I'm just like, I can't be like, oh, I don't know. How do you tell them that your friend's like, but you're not, you can't, I don't know. It's just a very hard situation. And so they had to send out, Jen was like so upset about it. She sent out like a little message and I was like, don't make it a big deal. And she's like, no, they have to call you doctor during office hours. So it's hard because then it's like, where's the line between friends and staff, right?
Yeah, that is a tough dynamic. Like I'm sure some of us have heard that line, the carrot or the stick, right? The carrot is essentially feeding the horse to keep it going and being kind, fruitful, friendly, and then the stick is basically hitting the stick on the horse so it keeps going. And it's like obviously, I think a lot of us want to give the carrot to people who are we're working with, the people who are around us, right? Like to use positive reinforcement, but sometimes it doesn't like work in the sense that like I know personally I've had experiences where you're working with the technician and sometimes you have to put your foot down and say, hey, this is my license, this is the way I'd like to practice. But hopefully you can still be friendly and still be understanding. And I think that's where clear communication is important. Doug or SV, have you had any of those type of like tight situations, whether it be in school or graduating? Anything you can relate on there?
Okay. So I'll talk about my experience before getting into optometry school. I was a GM at a Walmart, like a vision center inside of Walmart. And so with that, I had to learn kind of the same essence because we were all young except for like one person. But being a younger GM, it was kind of, uh, I guess, weird for them to like or trying to just figure out that balance of like friendship slash being your boss. But I just always wanted to keep the communication up and open. I made sure that I would I wouldn't like cross the line in terms of being too friendly in the work environment. But obviously, like I'm kind of a joking person, so I make jokes here and there. But when it came down to like needing to delegate, tasks, I made sure that they knew like it would, we're in a serious mode here and, we're not playing around. Um, so I think what's important is establishing the boundaries and like having the conversation, even if it's like out of work, just like, hey, kind of like Nadia, what you're talking about, like, hey, would you guys like mind calling me doctor during work hours? Like outside, as soon as the clock hits, whatever, as soon as you clock out, it's all good. Like you can call me whatever, but right here, like we got to just keep that professional relationship. And with communication, they listen for the most part.
Have you all been in a situation where maybe someone doesn't listen, and how would you handle that?
I mean, I don't want to be like rude to them either because like it's hard to be like, there was like a viral TikTok a long time ago that said it was like people calling the doctors like by their first names. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. I'll send it to you. And then the older doctors were kind of like, hey, I'm doctor. And then the younger doctors were kind of chill about it. But now that I've like experienced it, it's kind of like, I don't know, it just feels weird. Like it's not that I feel like I'm entitled to the title or anything. Like I don't feel like I'm better than them being said it. But also like it's office hours. Like I am the doctor here. Like you can't just call me by my first name around here kind of thing. I don't know if that answered your question. I just thought about that though. But it's a little different, right? In school, like I feel like I was very close to my professors. I don't know, Svet, if you are very close to anybody, and I would still call them doctor, but also like the relationships were different. Like we had kind of houses, which were kind of like Hogwarts houses, but it was really just our clinic groups. So my house was called Prentice, and I was the house activities coordinator. So I had to work really closely with my house like professor, basically, and it was Dr. Drescher. And so I would be in his office all the time. At first, I was like really afraid of him because I thought he was like mean because he was just like grumpy cat. And then we ended up becoming like super close. Like we would have like competitions where we would like play softball, and he's like, you're gonna play even though people don't think you can play, we're gonna play. And so he'd take me to the he'd take me like to the side, and he would like throw the ball at me so I could practice. I don't know, so we developed this like amazing relationship, right? And I'm gonna invite him to the wedding. Like, I just feel like he became like such a close friend to me while I was going through this. And I don't know if Svet, you've kind of had like a similar experience since you're in school right now.
Yeah, I think if I were to try to describe an office experience, the only kind of office experience I have is in clinic that's related to school. It's not really an office. In an office, I guess, like at school, I can kind of, I'm not a doctor, but like in front of patients, I introduce myself with my full name, Svetlana. And I've asked my attendings to also say Svetlana because I don't want to be SV in front of a patient.
Mm-hmm.
So my attendings know that. And I know lots of my other classmates do that too. Like, they have a nickname, they go by their full first name in front of patients. And I think that's like the only thing I can relate with you guys on. When it comes to school, I think of my professor that I do research with. We're both really, really close. And it's interesting because I'm involved with research. I have a lot of friends that are in the PhD program. So they're third year PhDs. I'm a third year optometry student. That's how I met them. We all started at the same time. And they call their PhD PI or like advisor by their first name. While sometimes like the PhD individuals are actually our teachers too. So I know all the PhD like instructors by their last name, while my friends call them by their first name. And like the doctor that I do research with, I call her by her last name, like doctor last name. But all my PhD friends call her by her first name. I don't know why I explained all that, but it gets a little confusing.
Lots of names.
Yeah, but it's like a different dynamic. I don't know why. I mean,
Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah, it's really interesting.
So
But
do
then there's
you feel like you should call them by their first name, or do you feel weird because you're not in the same PhD program with them?
so it's funny, if I'm sitting at a table with PhD students, I'll use their first names, but if the doctor was there, they'll call the doctor by their first name and I'll call the doctor by their like doctor last name. Yeah. If I'm sitting with them, I'll use first names. But if the doctor's there, I feel like I have to say doctor so and
There's
so.
just some people in your head, they're always doctor. Like, even though I was like an intern for Dr. Perry, he was my he was my first internship, and then I ended up working for him. Like, I can never just call him Mark. Like, I could never do that because in my head it's Dr. Perry. Like, it's hard. It's like hard to swallow when you say the other name. So I get it. It's like weird
Yeah.
dynamic wise.
JD, did you have friends as faculty while you were in school?
Absolutely. There were some people who mentored me, and now I consider them friends. I can relate where Nadia says you have that vision of them in your head as just calling them doctor. But I definitely am willing to kind of get to know people, including professors, and hanging out with them and spending time with them on a personal level. I think it's a great thing, but I think it's like making sure you're aligned. And so I think, we talked about names for quite a bit there, but I think the main part of the name is just like showing respect when it's due. So if you can show the respect when it's due, whether you're the student or whether you're the doctor and you're getting that respect, that's what's important, because you want to give patients the best care, and respecting the doctor is important in that situation. So yes, I think it's okay. And I have myself hung out with faculty, classmates, whatever, maybe on a level like that. And additionally, in clinic, I've hung out with technicians. And so I think it's all great as long as you can keep it professional when it should be professional.
JD, have you ever been in a situation where like you wanted to ask out like somebody in your staff or anything like that?
Absolutely. I think when you're in the office environment, especially as a single person, uh, and you get along with the people you're working with, and you spend like 8 hours a day there, right? Like that's even more than the time that you spend at home. And a lot of these times situations, you're alone, right? You're on rotations, you're in the middle of the country, or you move to a new location. So definitely, it's easy to find and spark some interest with some people that you're working with, and that's happened for me.
Yeah.
Okay. So then how did you handle that? How did you keep the dynamic of friends, but then in front of patients, I'm doctor? How does that work?
It is tough, and I think it took some exploring to figure out how to go about that, to be frank. I think as a student, I thought, hey, there's a way to have it all. You maybe go on a date with someone and work with them and keep a professional environment. I learned early on that wasn't the case. And so I was fortunate that I was learning from that situation, that going deeper into that situation would have not led to a professional environment. And so after learning that and seeing that experience on a rotation, I decided I'd never do that as a doctor, to be romantically involved with someone I'm working with, unless they were maybe a similar doctor or someone I worked with once in a while, or I felt like I could maintain that professional relationship, which has not happened yet.
Anyway,
But
so JD, actually, you mentioned something earlier that was interesting, about how, we do spend 8 hours a day with these people. And, that is a lot of time, more than we spend with our families. So, what do you do if you end up being in a bad situation with somebody in the office that you don't get along with? Like, has anybody had that kind of experience and would like to kind of share what they did, or like any tips?
yeah, recently my technician and I, we've been working together for a little bit over the year, and we didn't see eye to eye. I think we had some issues with maybe how things were put, like in terms of cleanliness and organization or referrals, or just being on the same page. And so that led to some negativity in the workplace. And frankly, it's not fun when you want. I think everybody wants to get along and see eye to eye, but at the same time, there has to be a relationship to work to make everything better and for it to be fun. So what I did to try to quell that was open communication and saying, "Hey, how do you like it? What are your thoughts?" And then also what I usually do is when it's someone's birthday or someone's, like big ceremony, or maybe even every like 3 months or some celebration like Cinco de Mayo or something, I try taking the whole staff, which is only two people. I take them all out to lunch. And I think that really actually really helped, like having open conversations, taking them out to lunch, showing appreciation. At the end of the day, I know I wouldn't be able to do my job without them. So if I invest a little bit more into spending for them, makes me happy, makes them happy. And that actually turned our relationship around by showing them some sort of value, by openly communicating and taking them out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Anyone else kind of have any similar sort of experiences, school wise, work wise?
I actually had a question for you guys about like school.
Mm-hmm.
We
So
talked a little bit about like mentorship, where Nadia was talking about her mentor in her like Hogwarts house, and JD was talking about his mentor. Kind of mentioned my close relationship with my research professor, but would you guys say that those individuals in your life are friends, or were your friend when you were in school? So like, would you hang out with that professor while you were an optometry student? And by hanging out, are you guys getting drinks? Are you guys going off campus, planning things when it's not like school hours? What do you guys think of that? Is that okay to do as a student?
Well, the professor that I was friends with, he would take his like advisees out to dinner sometimes, and like the five of us would go. I never like one on one hung out with him. I feel like that would be kind of inappropriate. Like if I was out and I saw my professor with just one person, it would be weird. But I think it was known that like he would take us all out and we just get to hang out with him, and he'd like let us, if we wanted to, order a drink, hang out with them, that kind of thing. Um, and also when I was an intern, we did that with like with our like with like Dr. Perry and stuff. He'd take us out to lunch every Thursday, and sometimes he'd be like, "Hey, can we have like a drink at lunch?" And he'd be like, "Okay, just one," that kind of thing. So I feel like those things help you bond more, but I don't know if I would like go by myself.
yeah, it sounds kind of weird. I think I'll just add and say, like, for me, I don't know. It felt weird to me to even try to like befriend a professor or a clinician, and I feel like it's on teacher's pet vibes. So I never really did that. So I always like kept my distance and just like did my work. There's professors like or clinicians that you like or prefer to like work with, especially in fourth year. But I would say my closest thing to being able to bond with some of the professors that I liked was um, when I did volunteer work. We went to Panama, and there it was just like I think even for the clinicians themselves, they were able to feel more at themselves, and since we were not at school and since we were in a different environment, it was more chill. So, two of the most strict professors on campus seemed so chill and regular, and I saw a different side of them that like most students don't get to see. So it was more bonding, like in an in essence outside of school, but still school related since it was a mission trip.
Yeah, definitely get that. Yeah, I mean it's always like different when you're not in this professional setting, right? You see people a little bit differently, like whether you're like now, oh, the white coat's off, like seeing people even like colleagues differently, right? When we go to these conferences, sometimes we've seen them a certain way, maybe on social, and then we see them out and about, and you're like, wow, they're actually like really chill, like not what I thought they would be, or like they're just different personality, or they're kind of a goofball, whereas like they're so serious on the internet. That kind of like vibe. And I think we have that dynamic kind of in the office sometimes where we think like, oh, our staff is a certain way. And then you hang out with them and you're like, hey, they're nice or cool or misunderstood, or you never know, that kind of thing.
As a student, I agree.
Also,
I would
everybody's going through
also
their
just
own fights. Sorry, go ahead, Judy.
as a student, I would probably not do individual hangouts. But now, after graduating with those same individuals, then those individual hangouts will happen. So I would just kind of read the energy that you're getting from a professor, classmate, whatever it be, while you're in school. And then, as a graduate, as a doctor, when you're working technicians or staff or faculty, whatever it may be, another challenge that I personally had was like sharing too much. I think sometimes we want to share like, hey, I'm going doing this week and I'm watching this show, and some of those conversations are helpful, but sometimes it's important to be discreet. Like an important question I ask myself now is, what is the benefit of me sharing this or doing this activity with someone that I'm working with? And so if I can't answer that question and come up with a plan that fits that question, then I actually don't share it or do it. Whether it's saying, hey, I'm not going to be in the office this week because of something personal or something that could be used against you. So those are some thoughts that I have.
So like how many of you like text people outside of like school? So like in school, like how many of your professors do you have their phone number where you like can text them, or like people you're doing research with?
I don't have any of my professors' phone numbers. So we use this thing called Tiger Connect, which is like a HIPAA protected messaging system. So like I've got messages from professors on Tiger Connect like late or either early in the morning, but it's literally like you didn't fill out this in your chart, or don't forget to put in the VAs or stuff like that. But like it's not, or like check the chart because I updated the assessment and plan, stuff like that. But that's the only messages I have from a professor. I can think of one professor that gave her phone number out so that we could text her if we needed help, but that's the only professor I could think of.
Yeah. What about you, Doug? Anyone that you like, whether in school? I guess we'll start with school. Because I know you're
Yeah,
pretty close to like people you work with. Like obviously you worked with JD. I guess it's fine if you don't want to work with me, but you want to work with him. It's cool, so no problem.
where's the invite? Where's the invite?
It's no problem. I get it.
JD had his arms wide open for me.
No,
Pause.
it's fine. It's no problem. Anyway, back to my question.
So, yes, I do have a couple of professors' numbers. I think just through like that mission trip, it's really how that happened. Um, Either like just needing it for, oh, hey, where you at, like just text me, here's that. And so through that I've been able to, I don't, it's not like I reach out or text, but I have, if I need to, just kind of like I had a thesis paper that I had to write, and um, my advisor for the thesis, like I have his number, he's the same guy. So things like that, but never just to like ask a random question like, hey, do you think this is herpes simplex? Like, I've never really
You could do that
texted a
if you have that
professor like
relationship.
that. I could, but I just, like I said, I feel weird doing that stuff.
What about you, JD? Like right now, like do you have people like in the office that you'll be like, hey, look at this meme, or like anything like that, like randomly in the middle of the night?
I will do it with people mostly who I'm not working with. So like maybe old coworkers or old professors or whatever it may be. Sometimes, a coworker will send you something and I think that's totally okay. But I wouldn't say necessarily I go out of my way to pursue those.
Nice. I text people all the time. I like send them videos. It's so
How
funny.
do you walk that line?
I just TikToks and I just send it to them and they like, haha. I don't know, just because they're chill, because I know.
That's cool.
Or recently, I actually had two extra Jonas Brothers tickets, and I asked Jen if she wanted to go,
No
um,
invite.
which my clinic manager. Are you a fan of the Jonas Brothers?
I could be if you invited
Well,
me.
name three of their songs.
Uh,
Anyway, so I asked
Priyanka
Jen.
Chopra.
Priyanka Chopra is not one of the songs. Anyway,
I love Priyanka.
we'll go to her concert.
Baywatch.
She
that
anyway.
Nick Jonas song.
So I asked, I was like, hey, listen, like somebody had these tickets and they can't go. Like, do you just want to go instead? And her and somebody else ended up coming. So I don't know. Just like, we're just friends. Those are the people that I see most of the day and people that I talk to and people I think about. I don't know. I just go home and I think about all these things, all my people, and I care about them. Like one of my staff
Jealous. Nick
is,
Jonas, jealous.
you stop looking things up. You're cheating. The time
I
has
like
passed.
I like that song.
That took
Good
a
for
long
you.
time for you to
That's
remember
not
that
even a
song.
Jonas Brothers song. That is a Nick Jonas song. It's separate.
He's a Jonas brother. All right, anyways.
I'm not getting into this. Anyway.
What
Okay.
if you were the boss or running the clinic? Do you think that kind of relationship could happen, whether your staff or employees, if you were running a clinic?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
So you would take your staff out to a Joe Jonas concert with you if you were running a clinic.
I feel like that's a team bonding thing.
Agreed.
But you would have to
I
take
feel like it
everybody.
depends on the boss.
Yeah.
Like, I think
Well, you're not Jonas Brothers because that's expensive, but like definitely team bonding activities. It's like the best way to get everyone on par and like to have fun and just to create company culture within your organization.
Dr. Perry took everyone on a cruise once. Like,
Whoa.
like they have a thing called like optical dream and they'll use that money to like go on trips and stuff and he'll like put that towards like trips or they'll take everyone to brunch. I think it just depends on like the boss and I
Mm.
feel like they respect you
So,
more if you care about them, right? It's like you put your energy into something there you're going to get it back. Just like any sort of friendship or relationship, you
you sow,
reap what
yes.
you
You reap
sow.
what you sow.
Yeah.
So if you're genuine and you're caring and you reach out to them, I think that they respect you more than if you're
So
like
what
just
do you think?
picking up a paycheck and leaving when they're like, okay, well.
I was gonna say, should we go around and give like our wrap up or kind of like our biggest tips to having healthy relationships in the office or at school?
Yeah.
Yeah. JD, go first. I'll
Notes
go
that I
last.
took, notes that I took from these conversations were establishing boundaries, something that Doug really put out there, which I think that's a great idea. I think showing respect to your staff and showing them appreciation. You threw out some examples for your Dr. Perry about going on a cruise, but for me, I've seen having food with certain coworkers and treating them, having conversations, asking about their day. Doug knows this. One of my coworkers loves basketball, so we'll watch basketball videos together. Or one of them likes doing the moonwalk, so I'll try to learn the moonwalk with them. Just showing love in a different way that shows appreciation that I value you, but at the same time, I need you to help me with taking care of these patients. And so, the final question that I personally ask myself is, what is the benefit of me doing this action or getting to know someone and giving them this piece of information on a personal level? And if I think there's a benefit there that wouldn't hurt me in a professional setting, then I'll do it. And if not, then I will be careful about it.
Nice. What about you, Doug?
Kind of like JD mentioned, just establish boundaries, but also still important to be yourself and create the kind of relationship you want to have to where it's comfortable and fun for yourself. No one wants to work in a place where you feel like a robot and you have to be super formal all the time. I mean, maybe some people do, but I don't. So I think, have fun with it, get to know your staff, get to know your coworkers and just like help them know that like you're cool and you guys can vibe and thrive together in the same workplace.
Nadia?
Um, Friends are the family that you choose. And so choose your family carefully. You want to be friends with people who are genuine. And if they happen to be coworkers, then they are like, and that's okay. Just know like what the boundaries are, I guess.
I think I would say the same thing. Know the boundaries, especially if you're a student. Yeah, well, like when you're a student, but you're building relationships that hopefully once you're a doctor, you're at doctor level. I don't know what that is like yet, but
You're almost
soon.
there, girl.
Thanks. Stay a student.
Stay classy.
Yeah, there you
Chicago.
go. Classy, friendly, kind.
Anyway,
I hope you guys liked this episode. We'll see you at the next one.
See you on the other
See
side.
ya.